All right, so today, I had a couple of thoughts that I wanted to share with you all. But as I was looking and really kind of evaluating, the state of relationships right now, what I really thought about is there's two worlds right now, two different major choices that we have as far as relationships and what world of relationship do we want to live in. And there's so much on the internet going on right now because, the crypto's booming, or it was, but investments, a lot of people are focused on abundance. But when we really think about it, right, in a monetary sense, we think of, being broke or being wealthy or abundant. But when we really break it down and we look at relationships, we have a lot of broken relationships that are built or based off of lack. And then we have abundant or whole relationships. So when we really think about it, a lot of the foundations of relationships that people have gotten into were really built off of a level of lack. Whether you lacked, whether, you lacked something in life and you wanted to connect with another person, you lacked love. For a lot of people, they were lonely. So they felt like something was missing, love was missing in their life, connection was missing in their life. So they built a lot of the relationships out of that place of lack, which is a place of brokenness, right? And when we build things with the foundation of, lack, then eventually what's going to happen is whatever that energy was that the relationship was built on, it's going to come up. It's going to come out, right? So we really have an opportunity, which world are we going to live in? Are we going to continue to live in the cycle or the world of broken relationships, or are we going to step into the world of abundant relationships? And when I really broke it down, it's like, okay, how can we get from that place of lack, that place of brokenness, and transition into the world of whole relationships, of abundant relationships? How do we transition? And of course, it starts with the individual. And I talk so much about this, is a broken person is going to create a broken relationship. It's like 1 + 1 = 2. A person who is whole, has a better chance of creating, a whole relationship. So the first thing is to really, heal yourself and really focus on yourself and to heal. But beyond that, man, we're in the age of massive responsibility, but also massive action and responsibility for ourselves. And what that really means is it's your job to communicate how you feel. It's your job to take the responsibility to communicate if something isn't working in the relationship or if your feelings are hurt in a relationship. And a lot of times when it comes to a relationship and hurt feelings, people bury it down or they hold it in. And they hope that the person would eventually bring it up or that the person would care enough to discover, something was wrong. But it's your job. It's your job to create the boundaries. But beyond that, you have to be responsible for your feelings. You have to be responsible for how you show up in the relationship. It's not their job. So a lot of times what happens is people are going through relationships and their feelings are getting hurt. And, they're burying them down and it gets getting hurt again. And eventually they have this explosion of emotions. But it's because they weren't being transparent. Someone just put that in there. So they weren't being transparent with how they felt or how they feel in the relationship. So, within that, I want you guys to kind of go into, the end of this year, stepping into the new year with some clarity. And with that, mind, body, and soul is something I preach, but it's your job to have a whole mind, body, and soul. So what I want you guys to do is I want you guys to take an inventory. I want to take you guys to take an inventory and just ask yourself, do I feel like I'm whole in my way of thinking? Do I feel like I'm abundant in my mindset? And if not, then it's up to you to take that massive responsibility and start working on it. Whether you get a coach, like myself, or whether you're starting to read books or some YouTube videos, really connecting with someone to help you shift into a higher state of mindset And then your body, you guys, here's the thing with nutrition. It's so important. Our bodies, are designed to eat foods that help give us life, to give us energy and give us vitality. A lot of the foods that we're eating are straight BS. And what it's given us is a lot of toxicity in our bodies, inflammation. It's really breaking us down from the inside out. So a lot of the, mood swings, that we're having, a lot of the attitudes, low energy is because we don't have a healthy relationship with our bodies, with our nutrition. So again, it's up to you to take that massive action to shift the course of your life. No one's going to do it for you. And then with your spirit, I want you all to really take an inventory. I want you to take an inventory and say, what is my relationship spiritually right now? What are you doing to connect with your spirit? Because here's the thing. There's going to be many times where there's a relationship, where there's business, whether it's just life, where you're not going to have the actual answer on what to do, but you're going to need to have some type of deeper connection with your soul, deeper connection with your intuition, with the creator, to help give you that guidance so that you can make the right choice for yourself. And so often we get caught up in the physical because we live in a physical world, but we need to be able to tap into, a divine power beyond what we can actually feel and beyond what we can actually see with our eyes. So again, today is all about, massive responsibility and you deciding what world are you going to live in. Are you still going to stay in the world of brokenness, or are you going to travel towards the world of abundance? And putting this into context, again, we're talking about relationship, broken relationship or abundant relationship. So often, when it comes to money and business, we see these memes and these posts and they say, it's lonely at the top, or sometimes you have to disconnect, from friends or from the haters to be able to grind and lock in on your goals so you can create that abundance. It's the same thing with relationship. Right now, if you've never created for yourself a powerful, abundant relationship, then what that means is your track record of relationships are broken, like broke relationships. So in order to step into a higher level of relationship, you're going to have to disconnect from the type of relationships, the type of people that are the broken relationships. So it will be this time where you step out. You step into this world of being alone so you can recalibrate, revibrate, step into a higher level of attraction and attract, people in alignment with that abundant type relationship that you want. But again, it's going to take your massive action to honestly look at yourself and evaluate yourself and say, where am I? Where am I right now in my mindset? Where am I right now, feeling whole and in tune with my body? And if you are not at the place where you feel like your relationships are building you up and are whole, and you may need to get some help or some assistance. Because here's the thing. It's so crazy that people feel like they know what to do when it comes to relationship. It's like, okay, the last relationship, didn't work out. So now I know what to look for in this relationship. But, there's people who've been having that same strategy for 15 years. They've had that same strategy for 20 years. And now, again, it's at the point where you take massive responsibility and you might have to acknowledge, I don't have the skill set. I don't have the experience on how to build a powerful relationship. But guess what? I'm not too proud to ask for help, to raise my hand so that I can learn things differently, a different blueprint on how to create that, because I'm tired of the broken relationships and I'm ready for that abundant relationship. And this isn't just romantic relationships. I'm talking about abundant relationships in your way of thinking, your mind, your body, your soul, your business context. Because here's the thing, a lot of us have broken relationships because the mind is broken. We may have grown up in households where our parents didn't believe in us, where our friends always doubted us, environments where every time we tried to do something positive, the haters sprang up, and, it was just very broken in the environment. So it's up to us, again, to decide, what world am I living in? Like, I'm tired of the world of lack. Let's step into that world of abundance. But it's going to start with the mindset. And then it's also going to go with, you having an abundant, a whole relationship with self and with your spirit. Because guess what, you guys? It's a lot of work. It is a lot of work to completely step out of the old and create a new life for yourself. But it's not impossible, right? You were designed for greatness, but it starts with that decision. And then with the humility to say, hey, listen, I might need to get a little help. I might have to study because I need to learn how to do things differently. And that's what it's about. So, within that, there's 3 C's. There's 3 C's that I want you guys to think about in having powerful relationships. And this is before other people, right? Let's start with us. The 3 C's, commitment. So over the course of this week, until next week we talk, I want you to again evaluate, what is your commitment level to yourself and to your goals? And this is why it's so crazy. Because a lot of us would say, man, I'm committed to my goals. I'm committed to leveling up. I'm committed to being the best version. But guess what? When a certain person calls, we'll bend over backwards. We'll stop doing what we had planned for ourselves. We'll kind of get distracted or detoured to go and help them, always putting ourselves second and last. And what we find is, man, we're committed to having people like us. We're committed to, not letting other people down because we feel like we need some type of validation, but we'll let ourselves down. So I want you guys to really, kind of grade yourself and say, what is your commitment level to yourself? The second thing is consistency. We say we want consistent relationships, but how consistent are you with you? How consistent, are you with your study time, or how consistent are you with your job or your performance? Evaluate yourself. How consistent are you with you? And then the last thing is communication. And I know this is tough for a lot of people, but I really want you guys to judge yourself on how well do I communicate my feelings with other people. And this is the thing though. I know a lot of us, we're like, yeah, if I feel a certain way, I would tell a person. Or people know that, I got a mouth on me, and if they offend me, then but here's the thing. Can you communicate? Can you communicate without having to be upset or going off, right? Before you get to that point where you can't take it anymore and you just mouth off. We want to communicate in a way where something comes up and we're able to express it. We don't have to wait until it keeps coming up and I just can't take it anymore, and then boom, I'm just going to let them know how I feel. So again, from a scale of 1 to 10, over the course of this week, I want you all to judge your own self. How consistent are you with your goals and being consistent with yourself? How committed are you? As well as, how well do you communicate your feelings? And this is going to be, I want you to go with family, because sometimes we hold back with family, with friends, and then with romantic partners. Because I know a lot of times with romantic partners, that mindset may be, I don't want to offend them. I don't want to, scare them off. I don't want them to think I'm crazy. But if you feel a way and it really bothers you, they shouldn't think that you're crazy because you have feelings. It's all about, can you express it in a way that's not crazy? Now, of course, if you're upset and you just cuss them out every time, yes, they're going to think that you're crazy, but you are validated to have feelings. It's all about how you express them. So within the context of this, when you really look at, that grade that you give yourself, that's going to be a starting point for you to start creating these goals for yourself next year on, commitment, consistency, and communication. And within that, really be in the mind frame of, am I ready to step into the world of abundance in relationship, with my body, with my soul, with my spirit. All right, what questions do you guys have? Can I borrow a romantic partner? Very interesting. I'm sure there's many people who, would connect, romantically, but it's all about having, those level of communications and those intentions and, values and all those things spread out. Thank you. All right, do you guys have any questions specifically? Any questions specifically? Do I help couples too? I do work with couples. Hey, what's up, Samantha? I definitely work with couples. It's very interesting. When I work with couples, I like to start with a one-on-one individually first, because remember, a great partnership starts with two great individual people coming together in a common goal of connection, and the relationship is the container of the connection, or how they, combine their lives. But they first need to get clear on who they are as an individual. So when I work with couples individually, I have a one-on-one, and I, start doing healing work with the individual, and then they come together and what are the goals, for the relationship, or some of the struggles of the relationship, and then we can work through those. Michelle, yes, we do attract people that are similar to us, broken or not. And here's the thing, it's not just similar, but it's we attract people that we've seen through mirroring, through the law of attraction. It can be examples we've seen growing up. There's a lot of different aspects that determine how we attract people, but it's all based on the vibration, law of resonance, that and the energy that we're putting out. So we have to go in. If you're attracting something you don't like, we have to go in and see, how is that able to come into your life? And then getting deeper, because I do, work with ancestry healing and, bloodlines and all those type of things. Sometimes we're attracting things that are encoded in our DNA and in our genetics. So there's ways to go in and tap into that to see, what are those generational curses that we have the opportunity to heal so they no longer show up in our lives. It gets sticky with paternal partners. How would you go about that when the connection fell off but still trying to co-parent as adults? Again, it's communication. So I take it that, okay, there's a divorce, you're no longer together, you're trying to co-parent. Is that the situation? If that's the case, it's the communication on and coming together, and what are the values you have, and then understanding and respecting each other's differences, and keeping at the forefront the goal is the child. The goal is the child. So how do we support our child the best way possible to give them what they need to become a successful adult? Still living together. I need a little bit more context. So it's two people that are divorced, still living together, trying to co-parent. Is that what's going on? Exactly. Removing the ego, removing your individual agenda. And here's another thing too. We have to, when it comes to, two parents that are separated, man, it's not a competition. All that energy of competition, or, you need to listen to me over your dad, or, it's not about that. It's really about what is the best for the child. And a lot of parents don't really do this part, to really understand what are your child's goals and ambitions. And sometimes, children, they don't yet know what their ambitions are or their goals. But as a parent, being supportive and watching them over the years, you should be in tune to see what some of their gifts are, some of the talents, some of the things that maybe you think that, with some sharpening and, with some attention may end up being prosperous for them, and just encourage them to nurture those gifts. Remember, a lot of times we look at our children as our children, like this is my child. A better way, well, I shouldn't say better because it's not about, better, but another perspective is to look at, yourself as, the guide for your child, giving them good advice, giving them structure to help guide them to healthy decisions in their life, and to realize that you have the opportunity to instill into them so they can make great decisions and then be able to create some type of impact in the world. All right, I'm now single, business owner at 26. Oh, and 26. Congratulations. Why is it that successful men, older men that test my success like it's not good enough? I always run into that in relationships. Is it my age? So I will tell you what it is so far. What it is 100%, the experiences that you've gone through, and this is, your version of relationships thus far. But in the space of this, you have an opportunity to look at what you've been attracting and decide what type of relationship you want. For example, if you're like, man, a lot of guys who are older and they're successful, they look down on me, they say that my success isn't good enough, I choose to no longer, build relationships with those type of people. And, if that's the case, now you have the opportunity to, kind of go in and see how and why am I attracting these type of people or men in my life, and then decide on the type of person and the type of relationship you want, and then set that as the standard for what you begin to attract. If that's something that you want help with or assistance, I would love to, help you. But I say this again, that, up until now, yes, you've attracted those type of men, but it doesn't have to be the story of your life or relationships moving forward. I will put this on, someone said I need a recording of this to share. I will put it on my page so you guys have access to it. All right, someone said post-divorce, focusing on self-respect, compassion for self, and self-forgiveness. Genuine will then be projected, and genuineness, I think she's trying to say, will then be projected and hopefully projected. Humans, projections, and mirrors. Yes, as humans, we are, people, a lot of times people project, as well as, people live their life based on the level of consciousness or understanding that they have. So a lot of times they're only paying attention to the things that, that they're aware of. Sometimes new information comes in and you have those moments where you're like, wow, I never thought of that before. And you have the opportunity to then step into a higher level of awareness. But most people, if something is too high above what they feel is their reality, they just reject it. So it's very important for you all to be around people who inspire you and kind of help bring your mindset up, so that you have an opportunity to transform the length and the width of your life, the actual size and magnitude of your perception. I try to attract equal-minded men, but it's like, why is it that you gotta low-key throw it in my face that you're better than me when I'm not competing with you? And that's a very good question. So here's the thing. Just like a woman, tries to make sure, like when she gets in a relationship, she wants to, feel like she has some type of value, like she's bringing something to the relationship that makes her, would make her be valued or be shown, special care, by their spouse. It's the same thing for men. And a lot of times, men focus on success, money, where they are in life. And if that is something that doesn't impress you, and this again is with a lot of men, if that's something that doesn't impress you, and that's the only thing that they feel like they have, or the best thing that determines their level of value or success, then they do have that mindset of, being competitive or try to show you their worth or show you how good they are because this is what they have. And by no means, of course, that's not right. But again, people are always projecting. And there are a lot of people that if you took the success away, if you took, say in a relationship, you took the sex away or the success, a lot of people don't feel validated or that they have anything to offer outside of those things. So I can definitely see why, or how you've experienced the type of people who are projecting their success or trying to say, hey, look at me, look what I have, mine is so grand. It shows a level of insecurity or them feeling like they have no value outside of that. What if you're communicating effectively your feelings, you've hit your highest energy because they keep pushing your buttons? What would you do and or how would you respond? I would respond with boundaries. It's our job to communicate, what is okay or not okay in a relationship. So, and it sounds like you might, express your feelings and then kind of express those boundaries, and then they go against the boundaries. Now, here's the thing. Now, that falls on you. If I express how I feel, right, and I'm consistent with treating you with the same respect that I want in a relationship, and I express to you that, hey, this is a boundary for me. When you treat me this way, or, when you yell at me, I feel disrespected, and that's not okay. Can we agree that, when it comes to communication, you're not going to yell? And if they agree to that and they say, but they keep going against that boundary, then it's up to you to make a choice and a decision, to remind them. And, depending on, for you in that particular relationship, you have to decide and you have to see that, hey, this person does not respect my boundaries. I've communicated in love. I've communicated in a way and they understood and they agreed to it, but they don't respect me enough to stay within the container of those boundaries. Now you have to decide, are you going to keep being around them? Because at the point where basically they're, abusing you, per se, I use that, as a very, descriptive word to kind of put it in context. They're basically saying, I don't care what you say. I don't care, how you want to be treated. I'm going to treat you how I want to treat you. Is that a person that you want to continue to have in your life? Because if you keep putting yourself in that situation, now, you're not having enough respect for yourself to maintain your boundaries. Someone said, I'm like their angel. I appreciate it. And that is my goal for all of you all. I have this vision to help change the world by helping individual people transform mind, body, soul to become the best version of themselves. But I think we have it wrong. We have it wrong. A lot of people are waiting in, people who are in different religions, they're waiting for, the Messiah to come back. They're waiting for this day where, God is going to come back. My opinion is, I feel that God has empowered us with the information, with the ability to transform ourselves, through faith. And that as we transform ourselves, then we can go and share and help other people transform. And then as a collective, we help save and transform the world. So my motivation was, that version of me who just needed help, needed a little support, needed some, some guidance. And then as I give that to you, then you guys become the ones who can help other people. And then we look around and we're like, dang, our whole neighborhood's changed, man. Our world is different. I'm really looking for that. All right, awesome, you all. Well, I had a phenomenal time with you guys today. Someone said transformed by faith and doing good in the world. Yes, I had a phenomenal time with you all. It's so interesting because as I started, it's crazy how, when it starts to feel like we're a community talking back and forth, it's so much easier to share. But I felt a little rusty when I started out in the beginning, and you guys were able to, give that support to really help pull out, some of these gems that I have for you all. So thank you so much for your support. And until next time, you all, God bless and bye-bye.